brave, wonderful soul friends of the world. I wanted to do a little video here. I hope that's all right. To respond to a post I was tagged in. I have an easier time communicating this way than typing at this moment. So the post was about struggling with eating disorders. And I just wanted to kind of share some of my insight in case it could be of any help. So long story short, eating disorder or eating disordered behavior has nothing to do with disorder of eating. The battle is actually something much deeper within the consciousness, where parts, our subconscious parts and unconscious states that are operating beyond our direct awareness, are going through traumatic stress. And the eating disordered behavior is just one way that manifests externally. And so correcting the behavior doesn't actually change the stuff. But if we change the stuff, then the behavior starts to be able to be more corrected, and we can start to kind of take care of our bodies a little bit better. And so the two main aspects that kind of go along with eating disorders or eating disordered behaviors are subconscious parts living in traumatic stress and unconscious states living in traumatic stress. And addressing that traumatic stress that's trapped deep within the nervous system can help bring some freedom with choice about how we care for ourselves and help us move forward in self-love towards true healing. And so unconscious states traumatic stress can be released through things like chanting. Like it might feel silly, but that's kind of part of the point, is breaking through to new aspects of our consciousness. And so really deep vibrations and really loud vibrations can actually help move energy out of our body. And so, and just like going at it can actually really help, and just creating strong vocal vibrations. Or if you want to chant a mantra, that can help. Another thing that we did that really helped was a forced autonomic discharge. It's where you make yourself sweat without exercising. Because if we're exercising, then we're just dysregulated, and the sweat isn't actually going to help clear energy. But if we force ourselves to full body sweat without exercising, it can create an autonomic discharge, where our autonomic nervous system actually experiences traumatic release. And so a couple ways to do this is like taking a nap outside when it's really warm or hot, wrapped up in a blanket. That's what we've been doing this summer, like very frequently. And like we're just completely soaked in sweat, but we get to fully relax our muscles and just let the body get really hot and sweat it out. And then another way is like being in like a sauna, where you're just submersed in heat, but you're physically still and relaxing your muscles. Relaxing the muscles, but getting to a place of sweat can help release some of the traumatic stress that's trapped in there. And then meditation and yoga can help bring some kind of regulation. And then TRE, traumatic tension and trauma release exercises, you can look them up online. Take them very slow, because they do bring up a lot of stuff, and it would be beneficial to have like a daily meditation practice already established, so that when stuff comes up, you're kind of prepared to deal with it with some tools you've grown in your brain. But TRE, tension and trauma release exercises, can help create space for traumatic stress release from the body. So those are just a few ways of releasing the traumatic stress in the unconscious states that are contributing to eating disorders and eating disordered behavior. And then the other part of healing with this is the subconscious parts who are experiencing traumatic stress. And so subconscious parts are the connection between our conscious mind and our unconscious body. They kind of live in that in-between space where they're not our actual physical body, yet they experience our body, and they're not directly within our awareness, yet they are a part of our mind. And they carry the stories of traumatic stress. And so this takes a little bit of digging in deep. And so a daily meditation practice, a daily journaling practice, a daily affirmation practice, things like that help to create space for working with these subconscious parts. And then reframing the language of the way that we talk to our own self can really help. And so when we say I, we're here in present tense and we're talking as if we are the identity of what we're saying. But if we create space between our identity and our experience, then we have a greater gap to be there for ourselves in the experience without it becoming our entire identity. And so we can reframe the language as we talk to ourselves. And so when we feel those urges and impulses, we can describe them to ourselves and say, a part of me is feeling this, a part of me is feeling this, a part of me is feeling that. And that creates space so you're still present tense with yourself, but you're not becoming these things you're experiencing. And then if you notice something that's past tense, like something's coming up, and the reason you have this urge is because of this thing from the past you can connect it to, then you switch from first person, a part of me, to third person, she, he, they. And doing that literally creates space in our neurobiological cognition so that we can be there for ourselves in a more regulated capacity. Because when we are our experiences, it increases the nervous system dysregulation that is being caused by the traumatic stress. And so creating that space and practicing it every day. Janina Fisher says that learning the language of parts is the same as learning a foreign language. It takes practice because you're literally reprogramming the brain and growing your consciousness. And so eating disorders and eating disordered behavior, addressing the behavior, it just doesn't work. Been there, tried that, done it, and I've done all the research and been, toured the world online, if you will, and in person in a few different states here in the U.S., where it just doesn't work. Like there's science to prove it. Addressing the behaviors doesn't work. And so hi Haley, I'm responding to a comment that I was tagged in. I wanted to share a video. I felt led to do that instead of typing a response. So hopefully this can help somebody out there. I love you guys. I love you so much, Haley. I love all of you peoples of the world, embracing your personal power and choosing healing, because it's tough. It's really tough to choose healing. It takes courage. It takes a willingness to rise into the truth of who you are, because the truth is you're not your traumatic stress. And you're not these disordered behaviors. That's one description from one perspective. It's not who you are. It's an aspect of your experience that you can move through. You have the power. And so eating disordered behavior, addiction, self-harm, intrusive thoughts, like all of these things, panic attacks, all of these behaviors that are disordered or whatever way that, you describe them or people have described them, they're just an aspect of our experience, and we do have the power to rewire our brains. I'm living proof of that. And so, yeah, it's been quite a trip for us. But we do have the powers. And so creating space in your consciousness to be there for your parts without becoming them, creating daily rituals to show up for yourself and create space for traumatic release where your muscles are relaxed and you're just allowing for release, where TRE, you allow for tremors while relaxing your body after doing some exercises to kind of bring things to the surface. The autonomic discharge, where you allow your body to sweat without exercising. You just create space for your muscles to be totally still. Creating these daily rituals to feed your brain the things you want it to believe. All of these things really have a lot of power. So yeah, just wanted to share that. I hope it's some help. I'll try to tag the beautiful soul friend who had shared the post so you get to see this. I love you. There is infinite hope. There is so much hope. And even in those dark spaces where nothing exists but the black hole of misery that just feels like it's going to swallow you alive, that is where you get to be the most powerful ever. Because it's one thing to have power in your life when things are going easy. It's one thing to have power in your life where you can control things and things are just peachy keen and you don't have struggles. But when things feel impossible, that is where the courage that you choose to embrace gives you so much power that you move through your battles with grace and ease. And I promise it's not going to feel that way. But a few years down the road, you'll look back and you'll see where you started here. Choosing to rise into your power, choosing to create daily rituals to sustain your healing journey. Choosing not to stay stuck where you are. And you will realize that you have been a beautiful, transformative, miraculous soul all along. And you just couldn't see it because the traumatic stress trapped in the nervous system, deep beyond our awareness, deep beyond your awareness, was clouding your perceptions of yourself. You are beautiful, you are infinitely worthy. And I know the best is yet to come for you. Keep fighting forward. Keep fighting for your rainbow, soul friend. You got this. And you're not alone. I love you. Take care, soul friends.